But right now, as promised, joining me here in the studio, Larry Goldberg, of course, South Jersey guy from Margate. Boxing Insider Promotions is back at Tropicana Showroom in Atlantic City. This Friday night, summer boxing action is back with an action-packed card. And Larry joining me to talk about it right now here on 97.3 ESPN.
Hello.
Larry, welcome back. How's it going?
Thank you so much for having me back on. I just love your enthusiasm. You are probably one of the best announcers I've ever dealt with, and I love getting to watch you in action. Not that I'm trying to butter you up on your own show.
You are buttering me up a little bit, but it's okay. I'll let you do it. Oh, wait, are you a coffee guy?
I am, but today I have a Diet Pepsi. I just got down at Capri Pizza right next door.
There you go. I was just wondering, because the question that came up just earlier.
Oh, I'm an iced coffee guy.
Interesting. Okay, so I do like iced coffee as well. But my thing is that I don't drink K-Cup. There's something
there's
cringe
disgusting.
about it.
No. You. I mean, if it's a hurricane and we're cramped down for a few weeks, sure. But no, you're either gonna make it a different way. That doesn't work.
Yeah, to me, like I said, I typically drink a cup of coffee while I'm stumbling around in the morning, first thing. I fill up my cup again before I leave the house. And then unless I'm going to the local coffee shop or something, or somewhere I can see the coffee coming into my cup, I'm not getting coffee. I'll go with something else.
You need an endless supply of iced coffee in the morning. It doesn't matter.
That sounds amazing.
It doesn't matter what season it is. If it's 2 degrees out, I want my iced coffee.
There's a couple places down here in South Jersey that they're not advertised. I don't want to mention them on the radio. I'll tell you off the air that they make great iced coffee. So I'll let you know.
I will steal a plug. My mother has to have me bring her Dunkin' Donuts coffee every morning.
Oh, really?
So I have to bring these Dunkin' Donuts with this whole concoction of an order I had to have written down.
There you go.
Splendas and creams and all that.
Let's get back to the boxing. Okay, obviously, the comment I made in the article I wrote at 973ESPN.com that I want to hit on with you first, Larry, is that you're a man of your word. When you and I first spoke back last April, you said that your goal was to be consistently bringing action-packed boxing to Atlantic City. And now this is your 5th event in the Tropicana Showroom in the last 15 months.
It's been a trip. As I was telling you off air yesterday, if you had any idea what goes on behind the scenes I always say the easiest way to describe putting these shows together is we're trying to herd 30 cats across a football field. There are so many moving parts, so many people that are just, interjecting just stupidity into the situations. But yeah, no, this is our 6th fight here at Tropicana. We're very excited about that. Our good friend Justin Figueroa, Mr. Atlantic City, will be hosting it. He will be there. He'll be spending some time with you on the air earlier in the afternoon.
Yep.
We'll be announcing stuff with him in November. Bruce Selden and Julio Sanchez from Pleasant Hill Recreation Center are the local, fighters on the card. Bruce Selden is looking for his seventh fight, hopefully his 6th KO. If you ask him, he's fighting a guy that's 3-2. And they're very excited about this. But what I'm really excited about, and I've also mentioned this to you off air, is I also do these in New York, and New York's a whole different animal for a lot of different reasons. But we had this fight in May, and it's my really good friend Andy Dominguez. He's 108 pounds. When was the last time, Josh? When was the last time you were 108 pounds?
13 years old.
and Andy's late 20s. He's And he's fighting for our WBC silver title. So we had this fight made in New York, and he was fighting this guy from North Jersey. And a day before the fight, the other opponent weighed in 117 pounds, and you had to weigh 108 pounds. There's a 3-pound differential when they're this little to fight, and the whole fight, the whole event, everything just blew up on us in May. So we had this Tropicana date. We had this belt sanctioned. We had this, and I said, let's bring him down here. This isn't our typical, look, I get it. Nobody down here knows who Andy Dominguez is. This is a New York thing. But he is 108 pounds. He's fighting a fight that is literally a 50-50 fight with Byron Rojas. It's for the WBC U.S. Silver Light Featherweight Championship. That is so hard to say. And it's so long, but it's one of those junior titles that leads to a big show. Andy's been my friend. I've known him since, he was just a kid, from the Bronx coming up, working in the gym, and now he's a pro fighter. This would be his 14th pro fight, and is 5th for Boxing Insider. And we're really excited about them. We've got Diane Butt, who was on your show, Temple graduate. He's 22-2. He's in a really, really good fight.
By the way, 10 straight wins as well.
No, yeah,
those 2 losses came a while ago.
Oh no, he's the real deal, and he's from Philly, and he's coming to fight, and he's in a fight that if the odds makers would say would be as close to 50-50 as possible. And then we got this guy Ronnie Hines. Luda Bella calls me up at one of the Eddie Hearn shows he's at, and he goes, "You got to put this guy on in Atlantic City. I'm bringing this guy overseas. Got to bring this guy on." So this is another one of those situations where here's the guy who's going to have a step up fight, and your Atlantic City is going to get a chance to see a heavyweight before he goes overseas. He's like 6'7", like he's a big dude. So, I mean, we've got a fun night of action, and unfortunately, with these cards, some of the best stories are the ones that didn't happen.
Really quick, so I think there's one guy you didn't mention there, which is the other guy from Mendez Boxing, who was a late add-on, right?
So, in New York, everything's a little bit more gentlemanly than it is down in Jersey, shall we say. So, another show was running the same night, and because of a lot of external issues, their show got canceled. And so I get a call from the promoter like 5 minutes before they announced the show's being canceled. And he's like, anyone on our show, anything, can you make these fights? So I immediately tried to make 3 fights. We can only, think about this, there's a 8-fight show in New York the same night as our show in Atlantic City, and we could only make 1 fight off that card. But we did. AB is the head trainer at Mendez Boxing. He's 2-0 from Harlem, and he's fighting a guy who's fought in MMA in Atlantic City at least 3 or 4 times, and this will be his 3rd professional fight. And this is it's like a really good opening 4-round fight. But again, this is what we would be putting on in New York. It's just, hey, we're putting it on here. So I'm not expecting anyone to say, oh, he's my friend, I know who these guys are. But it's a fun night of action.
And that's the real key. Boxing Insider Promotions, you guys put on action-packed cards. These are not a bunch of hug fests, usually going on like you see at some other shows, right? It's the idea that when someone comes out to Boxing Insider Promotions, Tropicana Showroom in Atlantic City, Friday, July 25th, fights start at 7 p.m. Mike Gilden, Sports Bash, and myself will be broadcasting live this Friday from 2 to 6 p.m. leading up to the fight. You're not coming out to see a bunch of guys hugging each other. You're seeing action-packed. So, yes, you have the local guys, Bruce Seldon Jr., you have Julio Sanchez III, you have Dayon Butt, you have some of the local guys, but you also have some other guys who are other rising stars in the business, Larry. Guys who are, when people are watching boxing for the next 5 to 10 years, these are guys you are going to see out there.
First off, can I just say that you are the greatest promo guy I've ever watched? Like, both of us have got to get out of this market, man. Wow. I mean,
Thank
yeah.
You. Thank you. Thank you very much. Elvis has left the building. Thank you and good night.
But no, like I said, we try our best to put on fights. It's very difficult to put on some of these fights sometimes, and but the whole idea was a promotion like ours. It's like you're going to get the guys on the way up and on the In New York, we recycle a fighter. He ends up at the Garden. We take a local female fighter. We give her 2 fights. She ends up fighting for a title. And, our favorite fighter, I'm not allowed to say that, so I should say our good friend Justin Figueroa, he's going to fight for a title in Texas. I don't want to give away his announcement. And then we hope to have him back later on the year. But yeah, like I said, like we said at the beginning, this is just, we wanted to bring this back to the community. I dropped off a bunch of tickets to the Atlantic City Police Athletic League, so the kids are all going to come sit in the stands, and they love coming to the fights. We promoted the Atlantic City Police Athletic League charity show last year, and we're finalizing plans to do that again this year, and hopefully again the year after. That's like as much fun as the pro stuff is. If I could give it up tomorrow, if I did choose, I'd rather do these charity amateur shows. It's a lot more fulfilling, and when we're dealing with the Atlantic City PAL and their boxing program, you're really dealing with the best that Atlantic City has to offer.
So in other words, you're more than just a guy putting on a boxing show, is what you're saying.
I am not the out of town promoter that's going to come in, grab a few bus loads of people from Philly, try to get a few people there, and then you'll hear from me again a year from now. Like, I grew up here. If this doesn't work out, I don't know. I'm going to go try to get a job as your co-host on the weekend show. We'll see. But something.
You might know a guy.
I might know you. I mean, wow. We should do a podcast.
We can talk. Well, let's get back to Friday, because what I think is interesting is, if I can backtrack here, you mentioned about the WBC belt. Now, yes, it's not like one of the top belts, but
It's a ranking belt.
it's still a belt with a lot of weight, right? It's a belt
It's a
that's got a
smaller
lot of
belt. I mean,
significance.
they're going to give it to me tomorrow. I joke that I'm going to be walking around the casino wearing it like John Cena. But, but it was funny when we were walking around with the PAL belt. I mean, people in the casino were grabbing
Unlike
it, take
John
pictures.
Cena, you will relinquish the belt at some point.
I don't know. I joked to the WBC, if Andy wins, this is Andy's first title and he wins it, this is the only piece of boxing memorabilia I want in the world. I said, Andy might be sending you an email in 2 weeks saying that he quote unquote lost his belt. Can we buy another? Can we buy a replacement one? Because it's going to be sitting at the gym on display in Harlem. So, what was the question?
My point was that this is a significant belt. This is not just some.
This is a silver
cracker
belt.
box.
This is the silver belt. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that this is this, but we did this belt. What happened was there's this fighter named Avius Griffin. He fought at Tropicana twice, actually. He fought here twice. He then just got signed to Jake Paul in his promotion. He fought on the Jake Paul undercard a few weeks ago. On our February show in New York, he won the WBC silver title. And when we did all the paperwork, we realized this would work. It's not like the main title, but you get this belt to move to the other belts. And here's the crazy part. He's fighting this guy, Byron Rojas, who's had like 35 fights. He's 24-4. If you go on BoxRec, which is the official record keeper of boxing, this is a 50-50 fight. Like, and I'm not sure. Look, I don't know if the market's going to like our 208-pound kids in a 50-50 fight. This is what that is. It's not the typical, all right, we got to get to, like, this is a real fight for a real title. Now, again, is it the main title? No, but you know what? I'm sorry, I'm the independent promoter.
Well, but really quick, this is the belt that gets you.
This is the belt that gets you. This is the belt that gets you ranked in the top 10.
You used the wrestling thing before.
This is a junior belt to get to the big belts.
Right, but like, for example, you used the jokingly John Cena before, but like, in the wrestling world, the part of the lore of wrestling, which wrestling got this from boxing, for those who don't know, is that you got to win the lower belt to get the bigger belt. So like, no one's ever been like the WWE heavyweight champion without being like the Intercontinental champion.
This is like in wrestling terms, this would be like the cruiserweight belt.
Right.
Not to be confused with the boxing cruiserweight belt, but this would be like,
different weight class.
Chavo Guerrero walking around, no one thought, convinced him with John Cena, but he was a champion. But no, like I said, this is a legitimate title fight. The little backstage politics behind it, this was, possibly going to be on the ESPN show the following night at the Garden, but being Top Rank's last show and they got slammed with the amount of fighters, we ended up getting it. That was sort of why we had such a good made fight. They were shopping this fight to that promotion. And then, like I said, Luda Bella, who's legendary, he was involved in all the Gotti Ward fights.
Right.
He's putting on the Ronnie Hines Ed Fountain fight, and so he has plans to take Ronnie Hines to Saudi Arabia. So this is, like I said, 6'7", like big dude. Like I am not gonna get a picture taken next to this guy because I'm gonna look like 2 feet tall. Oh, he's big,
right?
But so these are going to be some action-packed fights, and Diane Butt's in a 50-50 fight. And then, like I said, we got the local guys. Bruce Selden is always looking for a fight.
And of course, it's all this Friday night, Tropicana Showroom in Atlantic City. Now, tickets are on sale at Ticketmaster.com. Tickets are still available, but we will be giving away some tickets tomorrow here on the Sports Bash here on 97.3 ESPN, because Larry's always generous at letting us get a couple tickets to give away here on the show.
Well, I'm asking a favor, and I don't, I know it's just you and I, Josh, talking. I'm sure there's no one listening. I am literally, we are right now, the government of Saudi Arabia and the UFC and all these big giant conglomerates are buying boxing. They are changing the Muhammad Ali Boxing Act. There's all kinds of articles about that today. That's going to be federal. We're not going to get into that. I am the little guy. I am a South Jersey guy. This is a South Jersey fight with some New York flavor. I don't know how long a guy like me can exist in in this ecosystem. I would like very much for the local community to come out and support us, because this might be the last time one of these one-off shows happen. Now, I'm not saying that they're not going to happen, because I have a couple of dates already booked, but I am saying that the landscape of boxing is changing, and
Right.
it's not easy for the little guy, and it's all going to change very soon, especially after the Crawford Canelo fight, when the UFC and TKO get involved in boxing. If you read the Muhammad Ali Boxing Act, they're going to separate two separate worlds, and boxing is going to be a lot like the MMA model. I would love to discuss with you on a similar program
Sure.
about what that means, boxing and MMA, because none of it's all good and none of it's all bad, and a lot of it needs to sort of be, but the landscape's changing. Please come out and support local boxing at the Tropicana on the 25th. Josh, you are so much better at this hype than I am.
Well,
I got to get him a wig, like the Don King wig.
no, not.
I want you to say only in America.
I'll do only in America.
Yeah, at the
I'll
first.
do that, but I won't do the wig.
I got these pictures
Do
of
I have to wear the
Andy.
crazy suit?
Yes. Well, it's a tuxedo. But I tried to do the gimmick when I had Andy fighting a foreign fighter in one of our early fights, and I'm sitting there holding all the flags like Don King, and then I look at the pictures, I'm like, oh my God. Just delete. It's like they're as embarrassing as the pictures of me from high school with long hair.
Well,
Like,
now you can edit people out of pictures, so you can just edit yourself out of the picture.
yeah. But it was good. It was good. But like I said, this is going to be a really good fight card. We're very excited for this weekend. This will be our 5th show. We're going to announce plans for our next PAL show, as I said, for the charity show in November and future shows. But this show is, one of the only shows that's bringing actual boxing back to Atlantic City.
He's Larry Goldberg, Boxing Insider Promotions. This Friday night is where it's at. You need to be there. The last event back in March was absolutely on fire and incredible. So you do not want to miss out. And don't forget the Sports Bash with Mike Gill and myself will be live on location leading up to fight night.
And
this
Justin
Friday.
Figueroa, Mr. Atlantic City, who he didn't think I was going to say this on the air. Justin is going to be the future mayor, the future czar of Atlantic City. And I was joking to Justin that we're going to work out, and his new workout regimen is he's going to be fixing all the potholes himself as his workout regimen. He's just going to do every single one.
Well,
So that's how he's going to get into shape for November.
Well, he's certainly in shape already.
No,
so.
Justin's great. Justin's working on the beach patrol. Justin is
I love the
doing
video
great
where he
things.
runs backwards on the boardwalk.
Justin is like I said. I can't think of the last time Atlantic City had an actual celebrity that they could get behind. So I love watching Justin's story. But anyway, Josh, thank you so much for having me on.